In 1754, during the Edo period, Toyo Yamawaki performed a dissection on a cadaver for the first time in Japan. This dissection was carried out on the body of an executed criminal. In the Edo period, Japanese medicine centered on Chinese traditional medicine called Kampo. Meanwhile, information on modern European medicine based on empirical knowledge and anatomy was introduced by the Dutch to Nagasaki and then to Tokyo. Genpaku Sugita, a physician of Dutch Western medicine in the Edo period, was born to a line of surgeons. Spurred by his interest in human anatomy, Sugita sought to broaden his knowledge by calling on the Dutch community in Tokyo and promoting this new medical science among his countrymen. Kulmus, a German doctor, wrote this book on anatomy, a Dutch translation of which was used by Sugita. Until then, Sugita had been using simple Chinese drawings of the human body. Yet he was so amazed at the book's precise anatomical descriptions that he decided to translate it. His initial translation was halting, yet he continued to refine it with the help of his colleagues. This is the Kaitai Shinsho, which took 3 years for Sugita, Ryotaku Maeno, and their colleagues to complete. The book's completion enabled a clearer understanding of experimental and empirical Western medicine based on anatomy, while representing the introduction of Western thought into Japan. In his later years, Sugita summarized his difficulties in translating the Kaitai Shinsho in his memoirs titled Nangaku Koto Hajime, or The Beginnings of Dutch Research. Gentaku Otsuki, who was respected by Sugita, revised the Kaitai Shinsho. This is a revised edition of the Kaitai Shinsho. In the West, Hippocrates has long been recognized as the father of medicine and pharmacy. But it was not until the release of this edition of the Kaitai Shinsho in 1826 that Hippocrates became known in Japan. In the revised Kaitai Shinsho, it is written that in ancient times, Hippocrates was known as a great physician. Born on the island of Kos in the Mediterranean Sea, he was dedicated to the pursuit of truth. Due to his profound interest in anatomy, Hippocrates dissected, explored, and observed the human body. The great Greek physician, Hippocrates. Hippocrates was praised by Yuan Udagawa, who studied Western medicine through the Dutch language in the later Edo period. Udagawa was Japan's greatest empirical scientist of the time. Hippocrates said, "Diseases can be cured by medicine, not by eloquence." Hippocrates was born around 460 BC. In those days, medicine and religion had not yet been separated. Superstition, mysterious healing powers, and magic prevailed. Avoiding implausible doctrines and theories, Hippocrates taught the importance of devotion in the pursuit of medical care based on practical training useful for actual cures. In their work, many artists have glorified Hippocrates' enthusiasm and devotion to medicine. Let's now trace the achievements of Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine and pharmacy. A spacecraft is launched to travel millions of miles into space. Fire is man's technological beginning. It symbolizes a mystique, a passion, an enchantment, a pursuit of the new. Science and technology have provided man with a new field of activity, space. The Greek god Prometheus incurred the wrath of the supreme god Zeus and was harshly punished for introducing fire. In the end, however, Zeus forgave him. Fire, its technology and its culture, became man's common property. Blazing flames. We should accept this gift with reverence and deep appreciation. During Hippocrates' time, in the 5th century BC, many city-states developed and civilization thrived throughout Greece. The well-balanced temple of Athena Parthenos symbolizes harmony and beauty. From the perfect order of nature, the ancient Greeks learned beauty and harmony and created their own culture. It is the art, or techne, that created such a culture of harmony and beauty. The word techne is closely related to harmonia in Greek, which means assembling, combination, and integration. The art of healing was also included in techne. At the foundation of Greek culture lies the idea that what is created through harmonious integration of various things is pivotal. Their desires were also directed to beauty, harmony, and health, in body and spirit. The Greeks believed the pursuit of spiritual and physical superiority an ideal in life. People engaged themselves in contemplation on the nature of man and his makeup. This was the dawn of natural philosophy. Raphael's masterpiece, The School of Athens, is a fresco decorating the Vatican. Painted on it are a group of thinkers of the heroic age of science in ancient Greece, Plato and Aristotle, who surveyed Greek philosophy. The philosopher Socrates, who preached for purification of the human soul. Pythagoras, who deliberated on the harmony of space and the mystery of scales and numbers. And Euclid, the master of compasses and geometry. Around this time, there also appeared a group of natural philosophers and the physician Hippocrates. Hippocrates separated the art of healing from religion and philosophy, which were based on dogma. He was a careful observer of people and believed in curing their illnesses. His values in experience, medical care, and the protection of human life became the basis for future medical ethics. Before Hippocrates, how were medical treatments conducted in Greece? This is Epidaurus, located in the Peloponnesus in Greece. The city prospered as the center of ancient medical treatment, most of which took place around the temple. Similar Asclepian temples were built in many places. Not only in Epidaurus, but also on the island of Kos where Hippocrates was born, and they became regional medical centers. Patients here purified themselves, offered prayers, and stayed in a corner of the temple to receive treatment. At night, patients were said to hear divine messages from the gods in their dreams. On the following morning, priests treated the patients with such methods as purgatives and bloodletting, according to the oracles. During the 5th and 6th centuries BC, Asclepius, the god of healing, was worshipped in Greece. It was Apollo who endowed him with the art of healing. Accompanied by a serpent, Asclepius was believed to have the power to raise and cure all creatures on earth. Even today, a staff with a coiled serpent is the symbol of medicine. Here is Asclepius, the god of healing, giving treatments. His sacred serpent was also used for medical care. This relief shows medical instruments used at the time, including scalpels and cupping glasses. These surgical instruments used by the Romans originated in ancient Greece. Even in those times, craniotomies and fairly skilled operations for hernias and cataracts were performed. They sacrificed sheep and ducks at temples as tokens of appreciation. In some cases, stone plates describing their illness and words of gratitude were also donated. Recovered patients offered wax, gold, or silver molds of their cured body parts to the temples. Mr. Ryuji Ishiwata says, "It is well known that Hippocrates separated medicine from traditions deeply rooted in occult and religion. Medicine's independence from religion, however, does not imply a denial of religion. Though religiously devout, Hippocrates as a physician preferred not to tell people about evil spirits of any sort, thus refusing to express his own theories or experiences in ambiguous or mystical language. This alone makes him a significant force in the development of medicine as an independent discipline." The significance of Hippocrates' philosophy is evident in the magnificent development of the Temple of Asclepius on the island of Kos, the center for followers of Hippocrates. In fact, the buildings continued to expand and flourish long after the school of Hippocrates had been recognized for its accomplishments in science and scholarship, making it seem that medicine and religion continued a close relationship. This is the island of Kos, the birthplace of Hippocrates. About 1 hour by plane from Athens, Kos lies on the eastern edge of the Aegean Sea, with an area of 286 square kilometers. Amidst the clear and serene Aegean, Kos is warm throughout the year and is blessed with an abundance of flowers and greenery. It has remained largely unchanged since ancient times. Here, Hippocrates continuously studied food and herbs and trained his disciples in the art of healing. A group of physicians known as the Kos School was founded with Hippocrates. The group traveled from place to place and left many achievements in medicine. This is the Corpus Hippocratium, or the Hippocratic collection, compiled by scholars in Alexandria after the 3rd century BC. There is also a legendary genealogical record indicating Hippocrates descended from the gods. From the 15th century AD, manuscripts which had been gathered in major cities including Vienna, Paris, and the Vatican, and handed down throughout Europe in the Middle Ages were compiled into printed books. In the beginning of the 19th century, Littré in France and Fuchs in Germany each published the Hippocratic collection in the form of a complete translation. Finally, in 1988, a Japanese translation from the original Greek text was also completed. The collection contains the following topics: various diseases caused by air, water, place, racial differences, and differences in customs and physical constitutions; surgical remedies for dislocations and fractures; diseases treated in different places, and clinical records; references to purgatives, emetics, laxatives, and other drugs; diets to be observed for maintaining health. Also included are very detailed notes essential for daily life, such as exercises and bathing. Many female symptoms and their detailed treatments. Among the many writings on ethics and morality in medicine, the Hippocratic Oath is the most famous. It has been the guiding principle for those in medical fields and continues to serve today, well over 2,000 years since it was written. Looking at some 70 pieces preserved here, we can get a picture of the medical activities conducted by the Hippocratic school, the Kos school, and the rival Cnidos school. Hippocrates' basic attitude toward medical treatment began with seeing, observing, and knowing nature, life, death, and the changes of all creatures. Hippocrates was an active physician who gave high priority to treatment. The island of Kos basks in the rays of the Mediterranean sun. The temple of Asclepius was built on a hillside in hopes of encouraging a sound and healthy life. Let us open the Hippocratic collection while recalling the glory of this temple. Hippocrates attempted to separate medical art from religious superstitions in a study called On Sacred Disease. The sacred disease is what we now call epilepsy. In the past, epilepsy was considered to have a divine origin, the will of the gods. Hippocrates made the following comments: "In my opinion, it is not any more divine or any more sacred than other diseases. It has a natural cause, just as other diseases do." Denying the existence of superstitions and ideas which dealt with specific diseases as having divine origins, Hippocrates paved the way for medical treatments based on observation of nature. In a sense, he found God in nature. Hippocrates thought that nature had certain governing rules, and all diseases were caused by natural factors. He cited those causes as nutrition, seasonal changes, climate, geological features, and temperature. Hippocrates' idea was that there were 4 humors in the human body: blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm. And when they were out of balance, people would become sick. This is called humoral pathology. Hippocrates made clear the interrelation of the 4 humors and made connections with respect to the 4 elements: air, fire, earth, and water, to the 4 basic properties: hot, cold, dry, and wet, and to the major organs and seasons. The relationship between humors and temperaments was formulated in the Middle Ages, along with humoral pathology. The general idea was that if blood was relatively predominant in the system, an individual would have a sanguine temperament and be cheerful. If yellow bile was predominant, an individual would have a choleric temperament and a short temper, but a brave character. If black bile was strong, an individual would have a melancholic humor. The word melancholic derives from the Greek word melanchole, meaning black bile. The phlegmatic condition is associated with a lazy or dull temperament. At the beginning of modern times, the temperaments based on humors were also adopted in comedies for character portrayal, mainly in England. The descriptions were usually quite funny. The word humor derives from the word humor in Latin, which means a body fluid, a mood, a temperament. Galen lived in the 2nd century AD under the Roman imperial regime. No one respected and praised Hippocrates more than Galen. His large collection of works contains a lot of revisions and commentaries on the Hippocratic collection. Galen systemized the Hippocratic art of healing based on the 4 humors. Along with his own new theories, he recorded all available data. This work was dominant in medicine and pharmacy for some 1,500 years. Galen also established pharmaceutical theories and even now is well known for the Galenic pharmacy. In this market in Athens, there is a wide variety of vegetables, fruit, meat, and fish. Hippocrates placed importance on good dietary habits. In Hippocrates' theories, the properties of food and drink and their respective effects on the human body were classified according to 4 basic properties: hot, cold, dry, and wet. His explanations were in relation to humoral purification, such as bowel movement and urination. Among vegetables and fruits, figs, grapes, and cabbage warm the body and keep the bowels loose. Wild boar, for example, will dry the body and provide stamina. Goat and pork are effective for bowel movements. Fish that live in stony places, such as the goby, are supposedly easily digested and good for drying the body. The concept of these regimens clearly shows that both medicine and diet can serve the same sole purpose: humoral harmony through intake. Diets which aim toward humoral harmony are based on the relationship between health and eating habits. Physis, or the body's natural healing power, is an essential consideration in diet. The word physicos, meaning a natural healer, and the word physician are both derived from physis. Both mean one who treats patients by the natural healing process. We must acquire knowledge on the natural energy of human beings in general and know what composes the human body, what is controlling the body, and what results can be made. As to all food and drink that we live on, we must know what original effects we can get from each of them and what additional effects we can get through artificial processing. A street corner in Athens, Greece. There are streets named after ancient Greek gods and philosophers. It's as if they are still alive today, engaged in their profound thoughts. Of course, there is also a Hippocrates street. Since ancient times, the many herbs growing in Greece have been used in medicine and to maintain health. Even today, herb shops like this one thrive on back streets. The herbalist carefully asks about his customer's health and symptoms. From his notes, he prescribes appropriate herbs and kindly explains the uses and effects of each.
Ένα κιλό νερό και μια γενική κατάρτιση του θέματος. Έχουμε το βασιλικό. Ο βασιλικός βοηθάει πάρα πολύ στη μνήμη και ελευθερώνει το κυκλοφοριακό στο κεντρικό νευρικό σύστημα. Το φασκόμηλο ενεργοποιεί, θα λέγαμε, όλα τα κέντρα του οργανισμού μας. Είναι πάρα πολύ καλό προληπτικά στο κρυολόγημα και δυναμώνει και το στομάχι. Το μελισσόχορτο.
Mr. Basili, who used to take medication other than herbs, gradually reduced the doses and now does not take medication anymore. He says he is in very good shape.
Το ταραξάκο είναι πάρα πολύ ειδικό βότανο σε θέματα διαταραχών του κυκλοφοριακού. Χολυστερίνες, ουρικά οξέα τα προλαμβάνει κατά πολύ. Να φροντίσουμε και λίγο τη διατροφή. Δηλαδή, χρειαζόμαστε κάπως μαλακτική τροφή, διουρητικά φαγητά, όχι πολλά τηγανιτά και πολλά κρέατα τα οποία οπωσδήποτε βαραίνουν το σύστημα και δυσχεραίνουν.
Hundreds of herb varieties are shipped to the store from all over the world.
Τα βότανα που τα χρησιμοποιούμε καθημερινά 2 με 3 κούπες του Αγίου στη διάρκεια της ημέρας. Στη διατροφή, η οποία πρέπει να προσέχετε πολύ. Έχω και μια κάρτα και οτιδήποτε χρειάζεται με το τηλέφωνο μπορείτε να επικοινωνείτε για οποιοδήποτε απορία. Ενώ αν σε κάποιον άνθρωπο... Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Χάρηκα και θα ήθελα να λέω ευχαριστώ.
This is from a health guide in the Middle Ages called the Taquinum Sanitatis. The illustrations show people who live healthy lives in harmony with nature, picking herbs and fruit under the sun in a beautiful natural setting. Saffron is said to warm and dry the body and purify the brain, making one feel refreshed with a clear head. Mr. Saizo Yanaura talks about Hippocrates from the viewpoint of both physician and pharmacist. We should never harm our bodies with drugs. For this reason, a higher ethical awareness is necessary. Hippocrates said the same thing. No damage should be done through drugs. He dealt with the same toxicity problems that we are still tackling now. We must go back to the starting point and look ever more closely while adhering to this original theme. It is necessary to know much more about the human body and diseases because we prescribe drugs for the sick or to keep illness from spreading. We need to focus more on health. The use of drugs, however, is still not sufficiently supported by an ethical point of view. Our concept of ethics is philosophically deficient. So, in order to seriously protect human lives, I would like people involved in pharmacy to reconsider the spirit of Hippocrates and to know that Hippocrates is the father not only of medicine but also of pharmacy. I would like to further the cooperation of medicine and pharmacy so that both can contribute to society. This is my objective.
したいものだというのが私のこれをやろうとしている一つの目的であります。
This is the home of Mr. Basili, one of the customers at the herb shop, preparing the herbs. There are some 270 types of herbs in the Hippocratic collection, with descriptions on the uses and effects of each. Basically, these herbs are used to purgate the body through catharsis and balance the four humors, including phlegm and bile, which can lead to disease. The herbs are now ready, and Mrs. Basili decocts them in boiling water. While the herbs are steeping, Mr. Basili's mother shows us vendusa, a treatment handed down from Hippocrates' times, which uses a cupping glass. It's often used today for the common cold. Put a small amount of oil in a cupping glass. Heat it and place it on the back. The flesh gradually swells, and if there are any poisonous substances, they are sucked in. This is also a purgation, or a kind of catharsis. According to the mother, this treatment does not have any side effects, unlike chemical drugs, and results can almost always be seen the next day. Herbal decoctions warm the body and are soothing. When she was a child, her mother often used this treatment, which has been popular in Greece for generations. The herbal decoction is ready to drink. In Epidemic 6 in the Hippocratic collection, it states, "Diseases can be healed by nature. Nature can find a means to heal itself. Instead of thinking over and over again, use the hints for cures provided by blinking, the tongue, and other body moves. Nature, without learning, provides us with the way." The Hippocratic art of healing, which is founded on the divine providence of nature, is actively used in these modern days too, as we've just seen. This is Salerno, Italy, a beautiful town south of Naples. In the Middle Ages, physicians and pharmacists would come to Salerno. It is called the town of Hippocrates, though little is known about the origin of this reference. In the 13th century, Europe's first medical school was founded here. In Salerno, under the reign of Frederick II, the role of the dispensary was separated from medical practice for the first time. This is the Salerno Cathedral. The Salerno Medical School, a true follower of Hippocratic medical arts, used to be in this neighborhood. But now, the school that developed as the flower of medicine is gone without a trace. This is the town that people visited in their pursuit of health. It is the birthplace of the regimen, a poetic composition combining Hippocrates' ideas of human naturalism and references to the natural beauty of the town. This is the regimen Sanitatis Salernitanum. It began to be recited in the 12th century and was popular in Europe for several hundred years. It originally had over 300 lines, but additions swelled it to a voluminous edition of over 3,000 lines. If you wish to be healthy and free from illness, avoid troublesome worries. Consider rage as woeful. Restrain from drinking. Have moderate meals. Try to get up and around. Avoid taking naps. And also, do not restrain from urinating or passing wind. It says those who carefully observe this advice will keep in shape and enjoy longevity. Other advice is to look at the mountains in the morning and observe water in the fountain in the evening. Water gushing from a fountain, the reflection in water, the green grass, all stimulate and refresh your eyes. When you get up in the morning, wash your face and hands with cold water. Take a moderate walk here and there and try to stretch your limbs. Comb your hair and brush your teeth. In doing so, you will have a clear mind and you will feel other body parts strengthen. Take a hot bath. Stand up or walk after meals, but don't cool your body. These are pictures of clinics of the time. Surgical treatment was given. Bloodletting was used to remove toxins from the body. In the regimen Sanitatis Salernitanum, we find a paragraph stating, bloodletting purgates the bowels, keeps the senses normal, provides a sound sleep, and gets rid of discomfort. The Hippocratic collection contains detailed explanations of treatments for fractures and joint dislocations. A remedy for spines using a ladder. This seems like a pretty rough treatment, but at the time, the measures available to the physician were stretching and strengthening to the greatest degree possible. Because a straight spine was considered natural. Here is an operating room in a university hospital, where a full complement of advanced modern medical treatment is taking place. Over 2,000 years have passed since the founder of Western medicine, Hippocrates, died. During these years, modern medical treatment has made outstanding progress. Hippocrates' philosophy of medicine has profoundly influenced this development. The German physician Forssmann won the Nobel Prize in the area of catheter techniques and the most advanced cardiac treatment of his time. He says,
Und kenntet ihr alle Weisheit und wüsstet alle Geheimnisse der Welt und hättet der Liebe nicht.
if you had all knowledge and held all secrets in the world, but did not have the mysterious and sacred passion for love, you would be completely worthless. Hippocrates Hospital on the island of Kos. Dr. Koutsouratis of the Hippocrates Hospital was asked how the Hippocratic philosophy and form of medical treatment is presently being followed. The psychological bond between physician and patient has not changed from ancient times. The Hippocratic treatment has been particularly effective in the respect awarded to a doctor by the patient. The Hippocratic spirit of medical treatment has survived even now, despite modern advanced medical techniques, chemicals, and our great strides in combating illness and disease. This is a medical school in Japan. Following in the tradition of Hippocrates, who often made visits to rural areas, the college has continued various studies in practical medical treatment aimed at enhancing medical care in rural areas which have not received sufficient medical services. Hippocrates' love for people and medical art is the underlying philosophy which will guide the students in the future. Life is short, the art is long, opportunity fleeting, experiment treacherous, judgment difficult. These words teach the importance of observing the profound nature of life and of making a sincere, continuous effort towards mastering sacred medical treating techniques. This is the tree of Hippocrates, under which he is said to have lectured his disciples. Similar trees were transplanted and are growing in several colleges in Japan. When people face a maze of problems in modern medical treatment, they invariably say, "Go back to Hippocrates." Yasuo Otsuka, versed in Oriental medicine, said, "In the history of Western medicine, I think the idea of going back to Hippocrates has occurred repeatedly. Since the 16th century, in particular, there has been a strong attempt to depart from Hippocrates, which we may call a necessary evil, but was undoubtedly an important and essential path for development. Whenever there has been a move towards branching off, the call has been, go back to Hippocrates. Today we are facing an aging society, and there is a growing group of people who have tremendous problems. Aged people with a lot of physical troubles, people who cannot identify one specific ailment. Under these circumstances, we must see the problem as a whole. Trying to cure and focusing on a certain part of the body results in the realization that there are other parts of the body that are out of balance. So, the holistic approach is gathering strength in Western medical care. In other words, I think, there seems to be a cry to go back to Hippocrates. This is what I am thinking of these days. This is a reproduction of the oath to the gods of medicine by prospective physicians just launching their careers. The oath includes all the rules of medicine and teaches the importance of responsibility in diagnosing patients when giving prescriptions, and emphasizes professional dignity which does not allow the pursuit of profits. I swear by Apollo, physician, by Asclepius, by health, by Panacea, and by all the gods and goddesses, making them my witnesses, that I will carry out, according to my ability and judgment, this oath and this indenture. I will use treatment to help the sick according to my ability and judgment, but never with a view to injury and wrongdoing. Whatsoever I shall see or hear in the course of my profession, as well as outside my profession, in my intercourse with men, if it be what should not be published abroad, I will never divulge, holding such things to be holy secrets. Now, if I carry out this oath and break it not, may I gain forever reputation among all men for my life and for my art. But if I transgress it and forswear myself, may the opposite befall me.